So the book that I want to talk about today is Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. It's the fourth book in the Stormlight Archive series, and since it's the fourth book, I'm not gonna bother with like a synopsis or anything like that because it would be spoilery anyway. Just want to talk about what I thought about this book since I just finished rereading it. Just to give a bit of a context, I guess. When I first read this book, I read it in like a week, or maybe even less. I don't remember. It was really quick, and I did not like this as much as the other books in the series. I thought this was probably the worst book in Stormlight Archive. Still, it was still like a 4 out of 5, but it was not quite up to par compared to the others, which I think I basically rated them all 5 out of 5, except maybe Oathbringer, which was 4 out of 4.5. I don't remember exactly, but this was just not my favorite in the series at all because it was very slow even compared to the other books, and there's one POV character that I just did not like, and not to mention the ending seemed a bit anticlimactic, which is very unusual for a Sanderson book. And then I decided to basically reread this book slowly, and by slowly I mean really slowly. Like I started in March last year. I basically just read like 5 to 10 minutes a day. Sometimes I skipped a couple of days when I'm busy or something, and yeah, I never read more than like 20 minutes in a day. um, so I finished this book a couple of days ago, and I found myself liking this a lot more, and basically all the problems that I mentioned before are not there anymore when I did a slow reread. I don't know if that was because of that, or maybe it's just better on a reread even if it's a normal reread. I don't know. What I found was that yes, this book is slower, and there are things that you could probably consider as fluff that you can just remove. But those moments I find to be very not necessarily important, but they add a lot to the characters, and they basically let the characters breathe instead of just like having the characters go from one major plot point to the next. We actually have character moments that doesn't involve a lot of plot, and that's always nice, I guess. And as for the main character that I didn't like, which was Venli, the singer, I at first I think I was just too caught up on the other plot points. I just wanted to go back to the real main characters, I guess you could say. And when I slowly reread this book, I found Venli's story to be a lot more convincing and compelling than I thought before, and her as a character just became more interesting as a result. And I didn't have that feeling anymore of wanting to go back to the real main characters, because yeah, I found her story to be more compelling this time. Is she one of my favorite characters? Nope, still not. She is still probably one of my least favorite characters, but the gap between her and the rest went from this bit to this. So yeah, it's a lot better in the reread basically. As for the final thing, which is the fact that it's anticlimactic, I think it has to do with the fact that this is the penultimate book of the first half, and since the first half since the series is basically split into two halves, this is basically the penultimate book of a series, kinda, and it shows. I guess there are a lot of basically characters and things going to certain places where in the next book it will be, it will be really good. Basically, like I'm reading the preview chapters right now of Win and Truth, which is like the fifth book. I'm like 20 chapters in, and I can see that it's a very different condition. It's very different right now because in that book we don't really need to do any of the setting ups or any of the moving characters to other places, and we don't need to do that. It can just be one big finale, which I think is what's going on so far. Again, I'm only like, I don't know, 10 chapters in the next book. I'm not really sure. It's still early, but it already feels more intense and more fast paced than the previous book, which is this book that I'm talking about now. And so I understand why, even though at first I wasn't the biggest fan of it. It's necessary, and I don't really mind it as much anymore, I guess. So yeah, basically the problems are not really there anymore. The problems that I had in my original read are not there anymore. But the things that I like the character moments, or like the epic moments, I guess I should say, they're still there, and they're still amazing, and they are so compelling. there's a reason, I guess, why this series is my favorite series of all time so far. So yeah, it's just so good. Even like the worst book is still so good. So yeah, I can't wait to read like the entire next book. But yeah, this one I don't know if this one like this one is a 4.5 or a straight up 5. I'm leaning toward 4.5 because it's, again, there are still things that I think the other books did better, but it's definitely a better reading experience than what I had the first time when I speed read the entire book in a week. So yeah, I love this. It's a 4 out of 5, 4.5 out of 5, I guess. So yeah, if you already like the first three, there's no reason not to read this book. So yeah, that's all from me today. Thanks for watching.